We did appear on Thursday to start things off at a fundraiser for our friend Jose Vega in the Bronx. We both opened up for Jimmy, who then opened up for Jose. We put our introduction speeches up on the channel. I think it was the day after or something like that. But here are some pieces from Jose's speech at the event, along with an introduction, a rousing introduction from our friend Jimmy Dore. So we'll full screen this. This is about half of Jose's speech. This runs about 8 minutes or so. But here are some moments from Jose's speech at the fundraiser rally.
Well, I'm proud to be here. I'm proud to be supporting Jose Vega, because if there's one thing I've learned in my 58 years, it's all wars are bullshit. 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 Let's hear it for Jose Vega.
I would be, today is D-Day. It's June 6th, right? Today is the anniversary. And oftentimes in history, people talk about, the battle that changed the tide of war, right? This is the battle, right? The invasion of Normandy, the liberation of France, that actually turned the tide to allow, for the Allies to actually win. It was a moment in history that said, that's the moment, that allowed the Allies to win, depending on your interpretation of history. And what I see here today is that moment repeating itself right now, because this is the moment of history turning. This is the moment we actually take our country back. We take our government back to be run by independent thought. And now I've decided to declare my independent run against Ritchie Torres. They call this place the poorest congressional district in the country, New York 15. That's statistically true. That's just objectively true. And it's been that way for the last 50 years. And Ritchie Torres likes to talk about Israel more. And this is true. Somebody did the math on this. Ritchie Torres mentions Israel 239% more times than he does the Bronx. He's not even, he's not independent. You know who owns him. Now, here's my problem, though. I'm not running against Ritchie Torres. I mean, yes, his name is going to be the one on the ballot that people will try and elect. People are going to try and, fill in his name. But I'm not actually running against him, right? Because he's just an empty suit. He is a visual, disgusting metaphor for this belief that you can just buy congressional districts. That you can just, the Bronx, no one gives a shit about the Bronx, right? We're just gonna throw in some empty suit in there who can be somewhat halfway sincere sometimes, throw a bunch of money in there, and then we'll own it. We'll just own him. That's what that is. It's a visual, disgusting metaphor. You know how many congressmen there are that take over $100,000 from AIPAC? It's over 300. Over 300 congressmen take over $100,000 from AIPAC. And that's what we're fighting against here. We are fighting against an entity. It's not even just AIPAC, It's not even just the pro-Israeli lobby here. It's this entire Mickey Mat system that Ray McGovern keeps talking about. Do people know what the acronym Mickey Mat stands for? So I won't repeat it because I don't know it. No, it's military, intelligence, congressional, media, academia, think tank, the Mickey Mat system. This whole Mickey Mat system, that does not like any real serious opposition to it. And think about it, just telling the truth that there is a slaughter going on in Gaza is enough for them to spend millions of dollars to get you out of office. Now, I've been looking into why, Ritchie Torres just this morning had found out that he was getting millions of dollars from different PACs. But all these PACs are registered from the same postal box, same P.O. box. So 10 different PACs, all sending him the max donation, but from the same P.O. box. Why is he raising so much money in a race where he has no primary challenger? It's just me and him in the general election and maybe a Republican. What is he actually afraid of? He's afraid of all of you, actually. That is actually what he's afraid of. And that's what I mean about this being the point at which we turn history around. This is the point right here where everyone needs to make the decision to do something greater with their lives and say, you know what, can we actually fight against this disgusting metaphor that our Congress can be bought and paid for by people with big pockets? I believe all of you believe the answer is no, yes, that we can fight against this. And we proved it, actually. We just went through this intense 6-week petitioning period. Some of you flew in from Ohio, from Missouri. Lots of you took time off work. People were coming in from Jersey City, okay, bringing in clothes when it was cold. That is real grassroots. That is spirit, that is tenacity. Or an even better example, other than the fact that we handed in 11,000 signatures, okay? Is the fact that Diane Sayre, who's right here, by the way, Diane Sayre, okay, had the same requirements that all the presidential candidates needed, right? So she needed 45,000 valid signatures to be a US Senate candidate in New York, right? 45,000 valid signatures. Cornel West only handed in 4,000, so he didn't even try. The Libertarians less. Jill Stein handed in 42,000 signatures, just 3 shy of the goal, and said it was still a victory against tyranny. Okay, sure, I hear that. But then Diane Sayre comes in, she doesn't hand in 50,000. She doesn't hand in 60,000, she hands in 70,000 signatures. And she got on the ballot, okay? There are 2 anti-war, pro-peace candidates. And that's me, and that's Diane Sayre in New York State. That is independence. That is the tide that can turn history. Now look, I gotta be honest with you folks. A lot of people here. There's probably also some Ritchie Torres people here too who bought a ticket and wanted to get in. What are they here to look for? They're here to see if there's enough support for this campaign, if it's actually a viable campaign. And I want to ask you, is there enough support here for me?
Unmute.
Sorry about that. So there's our friend Jose Vega making really his first campaign speech at a formal campaign rally and doing a pretty damn good job of it. And we did a panel with Jimmy and Jose after his speech, and we're going to drop that on our channel as its own standalone piece, so keep an eye out for that. But one of the things that we both stressed, Russell and myself, in the panel is that, you know, that is a room full of winners, full of organizers, full of people who set out to overcome what was a rigged system that defeated Jill Stein's campaign. I can't even say it defeated Cornel West because, as Jose said, 4,000 signatures from the Cornel West campaign. That's not even an effort. You can't even call that an effort. So you can't even blame it on the system, because the old system required 15,000 and Cornell got less than a third of that.
That was one of Andrew Cuomo's gifts. Remember how all the libs were so crazy about Andrew Cuomo? Oh, are you during the height of COVID? Oh, are you watching Cuomo's press conference today? It became mandatory lib viewing to all gather around and watch his 2 minutes of Trump hate every day. And on his way out the door, in keeping with this noble tradition of Democrats in New York State being deeply corrupt, this mostly being a one-party state, and it's almost always been throughout its history controlled by Democrats throughout its modern history. And they have taken full advantage of that to do everything they can to make it impossible for any non-anointed candidate to get anywhere, including not being able to change your registration. What is it, 6 months?
It used to be 6 months. Then they changed it to Valentine's Day. So now it's mid-February, which is still a good 4.5 months, I think, before New York votes. I mean, This year the primary is June 25th, so you still have to have it changed about 4.5 months in advance.
Right,
which is still pretty stiff.
And those of you who were involved in the Bernie campaigns will probably remember the Board of Election shenanigans, where people specifically in areas in Brooklyn where Sanders' numbers were high lost their ballot access, got kicked off the voter rolls. This goes back to Tammany Hall. New York has this long tradition of this. So Andrew Cuomo, when all these Andrew Cuomo scandals broke, I'm not talking about the sexual harassment. That knows no party or state. The things they never really went after him for because he got out of office. The taking the money from the hospital lobby to waive liability on COVID deaths in nursing homes. That's a New York classic. That kind of pay to play corruption. So yeah, of course, going out the door, he gave a little Tammany Hall style gift to the party and tripled the number of signatures you need to get on the ballot.
Exactly. From 15 to 45, which definitely screwed over Jill Stein since she had 42. But if you notice, Cornell 4,000. You know, there was a little bag on the stage. I noticed when Russell went and filmed the event, there was a little bag on the stage. Drop off your signature. Just here. They didn't have a person there to receive it. Just leave a fucking bag out on the stage. Here, drop off the ballot signatures. That's a campaign that knew it wasn't going to be on the ballot. That's a campaign that knew it was wasting the time of the people who went out and got signatures. If you were serious about getting on the ballot, you would guard those signatures with your fucking life. The Jose Vega campaign treated those pages like they were little babies, like they were little children. Every witness had to be within eyeshot of whoever was signing, and then we had to manage it from our hands back to the table where we give it to a person who looks over it, checks it out, tucks it away. There's always a person right near there. You don't leave a bag full of ballot signatures on the middle of the stage unattended with no one around if you're serious about getting on the ballot. So this is the point. This is one of the big reasons why we support Jose. Well, they take the project seriously. A guy who just leaves a fucking bag of shit on the stage, throw it in here. That's not a serious campaign. That's a campaign that knew it had no chance. So why are you sending people out to get signatures if you know you have no chance?
That's it. And that is what that has been a big division among the alternative media commentariat. A lot of that came to a head around Marianne. Really, a lot of the argument boiled down to why are you encouraging people to waste their time on this ridiculous campaign? And it's the same thing with Cornell. What's amazing to me is we put out a video of his empty crowd at his rally. And then, you think, man, they're not going to like that. He put out a video of his own empty appearance at a diner in L.A.
Right, yeah.
Maybe he thought that was good coverage. But my understanding, and I can't confirm this because I haven't watched it, Jordan Sheridan was at the Cornell rally. And I know he took shots of the crowd because I saw him do it. He went right to the stage, got as far back as he could so he could get that whole perspective. From what I understand, he did not show that in his coverage at all. So he understood, and I understood it didn't make his campaign look good. And to your point, does Cornell even think he's running for president? Like, why would you release that footage?
Right.
Why would you release footage that you can't fill a diner?
Yeah. And why would you have people go out and get signatures if you know you can't do it?
That's so
you can't do
unfair.
it.
That's so unfair to do to people. And that
Like Jill Stein, in fairness to Jill Stein, she gave it her best shot. It's just the Green Party's best shot is not good because they suck shit at organizing. That's just a fact. But she gave it a try. She came 3,000 short, which really means she came about 15 to 20,000 short, since you have to have a challenge-proof number of signatures. But okay, that was an effort. You could at least say that was an effort. The Cornell thing was not even an effort.
That's just a joke. That's just a joke. That's just a waste of people's time. So with Jose, and I've seen some people in the chat, and this is true. Yeah, the LaRouche people are serious, man. They're serious. Like, could he have done that on his own if he did not have them backing him? Absolutely not. I said during the panel, I'm not going to offer really an opinion about them because I've had a million things to look at. And it's very difficult to really delve into something like that. There are certain subjects that are very difficult to research because you can only find writings about it from extreme partisans, pro or anti. China is a very good example of that. It's very difficult to find objective, nonpartisan research in either direction about China. It's the same with the LaRouche movement. It's very hard to really research it if stories not being told by pro or anti LaRouche people. One thing that came up in the live show that I think works well for Jose as a candidate, there's this anti-American tendency among certain sectors of the left. There's this baseline assumption that America is nothing more than the sum of its sins, and it's almost inappropriate to talk about anything good that America accomplished or anything good in its history. One thing I can say I've picked up on from talking to these guys, they're not coming from that school of thought at all. They're not coming from that, and I think that's important because I hate to tell you this. Running as someone who hates the country you're trying to get elected in is really not a winning strategy in most places.
Yeah. Unfortunately, most Americans like America. I wish that weren't true, but it is true.
Yes. So I've been saying, really, just like we talk about socialism with Venezuelan features, socialism with Chinese features, we need to talk about socialism with American features. We need to look at the best parts of our past, the best parts of our intellectual tradition, embrace those, celebrate those while acknowledging the legitimate and horrific sins that we've also committed. And we need to come together to make something better that is rooted in the best of our traditions, not that is being presented as a repudiation of it. You should really, if you want to push a more fair economic system, you should be pushing it as completely consistent with American tradition. Right here in New York, they seized the land of a lot of the loyalists after the revolution and intentionally sold it off in affordable lots to middle-class merchants and working-class people. There's still a house down in Chinatown, the Edward Mooney House. It's the oldest house in Manhattan. It was sold to a butcher. So the idea of these kinds of redistributive policies as being anti-American, that's not true. That's the argument you have to make.
Exactly. And it was a great event, big turnout. They packed that place out. If you want to support his campaign, votevega.nyc is where to do it.
Please clap.